Hello students, how are you? Student, yesterday I explained third part of the lesson, and in that part I was telling you when the narrator approached the children's cabin, then his daughter Sue showed him a bump on her head, but the writer did not pay attention towards her injury and moved away from there in order to repair the ship. Now I am going to explain fourth part of the lesson. Now listen. After finding a hammer, screws and canvas, I struggled back on the deck. After finding a hammer, screws and canvas, writer went back to the deck. With the starboard side bashed open, we were taking water with each wave that broke over us. Because the starboard side, right side of the ship was smashed open, that is why water was entering into the ship with each wave. If I could not make some repairs, we would surely sink. The narrator is saying, if he could not repair the ship, then if he could not get success in repairing the damaged part, then the writer and all the members, all the persons in the ship would surely sink. Somehow I managed to stretch canvas and secure waterproof hatch cover across the gaping holes. The narrator is saying somehow he managed to stretch the canvas and secure the waterproof hatch. Waterproof hatch covers across the gaping holes. Secure the waterproof hatch covers across the gaping holes, because the holes were there, leakage were there. That is why the narrator stretched the canvas in order to block the gaps, block the leakage. Some water continued to stream below, but most of it was now being deflected over the side. Even after stretching the canvas over the waterproof hatch, some water was still entering the ship, but most of the water was deflected from the side. More problems arose when our hand pump started to block up with the debris floating around the cabins, and the electric pumps short circuited, and more problem arose for the narrator when the hand pump was blocked. When the hand pumps were blocked because of the waste material, because of the waste materials which were floating around the cabins, and the electric pump was short circuited, and there was no means of pumping the water out of the ship. That is why more problem arose for the narrator. Back on the deck, I found that our two spare hand pumps had been wrenched overboard, along with the forestaysail, the jibs, the dinghies and the main anchor. And after that, writer again moved to the deck, and where he found two spare hand pumps which were in damaged condition, which were twisted, along with the forestaysail, the jib, the dinghies, small boats, and the main anchor. When writer reached the deck, he found extra hand pumps which were damaged, which were twisted, and he found extra hand pumps along with small boats, 4 staysail, jibs, and the main anchor. Actually, anchor is the heavy metallic objects, heavy metal objects tied with chain, and it is dropped into the water in order to make the ship stay at one place. Then I remembered we had another electric pump under the chart room floor. Then the narrator remembered that he had another electric pump in the chart room floor. I connected it to an out pipe, and after that, after finding the electric pump, the writer connected it to the out pipe and was thankful to find that it was working. And when the writer connected that electric pump to the out pipe, then it started working. Then the writer was thankful to God that electric pump was working. The night dragged on with an endless, bitterly cold routine of pumping, steering, and working the radios. And that night was passed. That night was being passed on with an endless, bitterly cold routine of pumping the water out, because narrator Larry Mitchell and Herb Sizzlers were pumping the water out in routines, and they were exhausted, and they were also steering the ship in order to face the stern towards the wave, so that ship might not damage more. And they are also working on radio in order to contact the control room. We were getting no replies to our mayday call, and when they were trying to connect the control room, they could not get any reply from the control room, which was not surprising in this remote corner of the world. They could not able to connect themselves to the control room because they were in the remote area, in a distant place, and where they were that time, from that place it was impossible to make any contact from the control room. Sue's head had swollen alarmingly. She had 2 enormous black eyes, and now she showed us a deep cut on her arm. Sue's head had swollen alarmingly, and she had 2 enormous black eyes. She was very pretty girl, and her head was swollen, and now she showed the narrator a deep cut on her arms. It was another injury. When I asked why she had not made more of her injuries before this, she replied, "I did not want to worry you when you were trying to save us all." That time, the narrator asked you why she did not show the narrator about another injury in her arm. She only showed a bump on her head. She did not show another injury on her arm at first time. Then she replied. She did not show her injury on her arm because she did not want to create problem for the narrator, because that time narrator was busy in repairing the ship. Now students, you can see not even the narrator, his children were also courageous. They were also facing the problem, disaster courageously. Now I think you will have understood the meaning of this part of the lesson. Now I request you to read and write the explanation. Tomorrow I will explain next part of it. Thank you and have a nice day.